Christian, how do you feel like your guys' experience in big games showed up for you in this one tonight?
I think we know where we're going, and we have two guys that are really good in those moments offensively, and we have, guys that know their players really well, like Russ defensively. So we had good direction all night. We communicated through a lot of things. We were all on the same page with what we're doing. And on the offensive end, we know exactly where the ball's going. So it was good for us, and it's good to win, an ugly game like that.
You had missed your other three threes, and you step into that one. What are you thinking? What are you feeling?
I mean, one of them was going to fall. I think that I made a couple big plays, and that made up for a couple really bad plays, I think, early in the game. So, those big moments, that's what I'm here for. That's what I want to play in, and I'm just glad that one went down. Like I said, I didn't play very well for the rest of the game.
DA was talking about how good your guys' communication is right now. How did you push each other in the right ways?
I think we got everybody talking. I think, like I said, everybody's on the same page. DA's kind of stepping back and letting, Yoke and Aaron and those guys talk through things and figure it out, before he gets in the huddle. And then once he get there, we kind of talk through it and confirm, what everybody's seeing. And their job is to kind of go through, the X's and O's of it on both sides. And my job is to make sure everybody's on the same page. So it's been good. It's been, like I said, today was ugly, but you need to win ugly games. And every game's not going to be pretty.
In terms of the prep versus the reality, what was it like defending James Harden?
I mean, he's great. We knew that. Everybody knew that coming in. I think that playing against him, he wants to go left and he gets left, and his tough shots, he had two really tough step backs in the first quarter. And I think that other than the first quarter tonight, we were really good, everywhere. And I think that after that first quarter, we locked in and we started doing things the right way. We started being more physical, and they were more physical than us to start. And that won't happen again.
Christian, how big is it to jump out to a 1-0 series lead?
I mean, it's huge. I mean, you got to take care of home court. And like I said, I think even bigger is winning the ugly ones. You got to know that you can win when you don't play well. And we did that tonight. And I don't think that maybe has been us over the last month. If it was a low-scoring game, we typically maybe ended up losing. And I think we did a really good job today of making things ugly for them, knowing that it wasn't going to be perfect and sticking with it. Like I said, first quarter we were horrible. And after that, I think we were great. So today was a really good win for us, and we got to continue to make games ugly like that. I know we're going to execute better on offense, and if we do that, I think we have a really good chance.
Russ has played obviously for the Clippers last year. Did he said he was familiar with a lot of the things they were running. Did that show up in the way that he played defensively and the way you guys played defensively?
Yeah, absolutely. I think whenever he talks, especially about this Clippers team, he knows exactly what he's talking about. He knows what they're looking for, in certain moments, where the plays are kind of going, and he does that with a lot of teams. He's been around. He's seen a lot of different coverages. He's seen a lot of different plays. He knows players' tendencies really well, and then he made the biggest defensive play I think of the night on the inbounds. And he took Harden that play. So he was great for us, and that's what we expect from him. That's who he is. That's who he's been his whole career.
You ever seen someone care so much about getting the ball after it goes out of bounds as Nikola is, especially with the Clippers coaches there?
Well, I think he's done that, his whole career. He tries to get it out quick, and we try to play with pace. And I think they're pretty urgent to grab the ball too, which is different, which is interesting. It's a good strategy. It slowed us down a little bit. But yeah, Yoke likes to get the ball out and play with pace, and they didn't allow us to do that tonight.
What did you think of the wrestling match with Jeff Van Gundy there?
He looked pretty good. I mean, he held his ground, held onto the ball pretty well. It's pretty embarrassing for Yoke, but he was in the weight room afterwards, so that's good.
CB, that was the most minutes you've played in your young playoff career thus far. How did you continue to just keep your legs underneath you? I know you've played a couple long overtime games this year, but in the playoffs like that, just the stamina.
I'm 24, so I think that if I couldn't do it, a lot of those other old guys, they did it, so I got to be able to do it too. And it's not going to be perfect. It's never going to feel perfect. And at this time of the year, everybody's a little banged up. There's no excuses. And as long as we came out with the win, I don't really care, how it went. So, and I mean that. I really just want to win the game however it goes. And like I said, for us, for the Nuggets to win an ugly basketball game like that in the playoffs, it's huge for us. And now we know that, whatever punch they throw, we can take anything.
What kind of adjustments do you make from game 1 to game 2 just about, trying to slow down James Harden?
Why would I tell you that? I can't tell you those adjustments, but no, he's good. He's got a counter for everything. You send him right, he's got the step back. You send him left, he hit every floater, made every pass. He's a good player. I'm not going to tell you what adjustments we're going to make, but we got to be better. I think we were better on him. He had 15 in the first quarter. He hit 2 step backs on me. They were tough shots, but it doesn't matter. That's what he gets to, and I can't let him get to those things. So I think after 15 in the first quarter, we did a good job of slowing him down until the fourth, and it's going to be tough. He's a good player. And, as long as we can make it inefficient, make things tough on him, that's typically playoff basketball. If you can make their star players inefficient, that's when you win games. And I think we did a good job other than the first quarter.
Christian, it feels like you guys have done a better job of keeping the turnovers in check the 4 games DA's been running things. I guess, what do you chalk that up to?
Well, I mean, that was the problem, and we returned the ball over too much. We weren't guarding very well, and when you don't do those two things, you lose basketball games. And so when DA took over, it's not something that was a magical change, but he has been putting emphasis on taking care of the ball. If we take care of the ball, we cross half court and we get the ball to Yoke, good things happen. And we know that. So as long as we're crossing half court and he's touching it, I'm really confident that we're going to get a good shot.
James was pretty adamant post game, touched on this, but that he felt like the Clippers lost just a little bit self-inflicted, the turnovers, this or that. You feel like you guys, were able to force them into a lot of positions where they're, making unforced mistakes, or?
Like I said, I mean, they got a lot of good players. They're really good ball handlers. They got a lot of guys that can make plays. I think, like I said, other than the first quarter, I think we did a really good job of making things tough. And you're not going to turn them over every play. James he's too good, too good with the ball, too good at passing. But we did do a good job of, getting our hands on balls. Late, I think Yoke did a good job in his levels in the ball screens all night. And we switched up a lot of things. We threw a lot of different things at them, and they threw a lot of different things at us. In the fourth quarter, they threw things at us that we struggled with, and we had some turnovers that, I think we had a chance to win the game a couple times. We had some turnovers. I missed a wide open layup. We didn't make shots at the rim, but that's what happens. You have to be able to, weather those storms, and we did a really good job today. I think of fighting, the whole game.